Electric start and ready for your trip, sir.
Thanks, mate.
Australian businessman Ron Sullivan is heading out on a long-distance sales trip.
Ron Sullivan was a steel fabrication businessman who used to travel a lot around that part of Victoria. He was travelling from his hometown, Maryborough, to another town called Wycheproof. It was a drive that he did about twice a week.
After an hour en route, Sullivan approaches the tiny remote village of Burkes Flat.
If you blinked, you'd miss Burkes Flat, which is dealing with a country road in the middle of rural Victoria.
It's on this stretch of road where Sullivan spots a light in his trail. It disappears, but not for long.
Ron had actually thought that he was looking at some sort of night ploughing activity, i.e. a tractor.
He thought perhaps it was associated with a piece of farm equipment.
But then, something strange happens to his car's headlights.
The headlights of his car are being drawn towards this white light, as if magnetically somehow.
The headlight beam is actually going off towards this object instead of directly in front of the car.
And the effect on Ron is that he feels as though his car is being drawn off to the side of the road. His car is then heading towards this huge gum tree. He's in fear for his life.
All this occurred in a very short period of time and incredibly disorientating for Ron Sullivan.
He didn't see a particular object, but there was something there which obviously possessed some sort of power.
Right. What now?
It was clear that this was no farming activity.
His strange trip is far from over.
And then about 30 feet up in the air is a larger, circular, oval-shaped patch of light.
On a sales trip in rural Australia, engineer Ron Sullivan encounters a strange light in a nearby field. It affects his car's front beams and causes him to spin out of control.
He's looking at this thing thinking, what the hell is this? He's sort of really puzzled. What is this light?
And he sees that the white light grows in size, and then about 30 feet up in the air is a larger, circular, oval-shaped patch of light. Moving between the two circular lights is a rainbow display of lights, the colours of the spectrum. It was almost as if they were moving up and down between the two white lights inside tubes. As he's watching this display of lights, the circular light 30 feet up in the air descends, descends, descends until it reaches the bottom patch of light. And the last thing that Ron remembers seeing is that small patch of light just blinking off. Can't see it anymore.
This experience, despite its incredibly dramatic nature, lasted for less than a minute. We're talking of the order of anywhere between 10, 15, 20 seconds.
By this point, of course, he's rather upset, rather frightened, and continues to the next town along.
Something extraordinarily strange and life-threatening had happened to him, and there was no way that he was going to hang around there.
His car, and by virtue of that himself, had been put into danger, and had been put into danger by something which he just couldn't identify. He did stop at the very next town, St. Arnaud, got out and inspected his vehicle to see if there was anything obviously wrong with his car. But he couldn't see anything wrong.
It was very clear to Ron that this thing in the field was somehow, in a way that he couldn't understand, responsible for the headlight beam effect.
The unusual effect on his car's headlights fits with a rare phenomenon known as solid light.
With the solid light type effects, man-made light is often caused to behave in unusual ways. Light that behaves as a tube that doesn't diverge or fan out, i.e. in Burkes Flat you have this headlight beam deviating. There's a handful of cases where this strange kind of interaction with human light sources occurs.
Ron Sullivan will spend the rest of his life looking for an explanation. But the mystery remains to this day. The following morning, Ron Sullivan files a police report and notifies a local newspaper. Sullivan has his headlights checked by a mechanic, but they're found to be in perfect working order. Then, on April 6, 1966, 2 days after Sullivan's sighting, 19-year-old Gary Taylor is killed when he loses control of his car and collides with a tree on the same stretch of road. 3 days after the event, Sullivan and a local newspaper editor claimed to find a saucer-shaped impression in the earth where the sighting occurred. In the years since, other unexplained lights are reported in the same area, leading to local rumors that Burkes Flat is haunted.